Hello there, everyone. So, welcome here on this episode for Gorbad Ironclaw. Let me adjust my chair here. So, I'm getting peace with the Empire here. Actually, no peace. I had peace with the Empire. I'm getting war with the Empire. That's it. And the reason for that is because I prepared everything so that I can have some fun with the and an attempt actually with the burning Books of Khorne. That's it. So we're gonna try to have that, and let's see what we can do. Yeah, I get decisive victory this, and if I'm lucky, I can do this in like 2 turns. So whenever you fight a battle with a book, you have like a 50% chance of getting the next book. The problem is that it always has to do with the next one. So yeah, yet another battle that I fought, and yet another book. I'm just rushing it through it because I already showcased how it works on the previous video where I showed the stuff. And yeah, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna do with Zogoth here? Yeah, hold on. I had to go to the bathroom there in the middle. Honestly, sometimes the worst part is like getting, my kid or something like that saying, "Daddy, come over here." And I'm like, okay, I cannot play. I have to go first. Because when I'm recording, I don't have to speak, which is good because, they can be here, they can be loud, and anything. But sometimes they'll distract me. So if you see, if I'm in the middle of a video and suddenly I seem distracted, counter it that it was a moment where my kids were just like, "Daddy, but I want to play," which is also nice. I'm not one of those guys that doesn't dedicate attention to kids. Trust me, it's the opposite. That's why I don't record as much or don't have as much as I would want. So the last book is obtained. This took me like a turn, right? Yeah, I think it took me only 1 turn. I'm now confusing with the attempts that I was doing for to show you the mechanic in the previous one. So I don't think I want to go too much into Karlburg. Maybe I'll attack it. Yes, I'll occupy, but this can be a problem. I should have sacked only and got because I don't know where the enemy armies are. So I'm just gonna move here. I gotta chase that Beastman army. But yeah, the final book, as I was saying, all you need to do is equip it. You don't need to win any battles. All you need to do is equip it. And that's the problem, because you only need to equip it, but you need to also ensure that you can survive that turn, which I have. And now we have the chance. So keep the books, which gives a lot of Khorne corruption, ward save, upkeep for that army, and spell intensity. So that's perfect for someone like Malachi, for Malagor, or I can have the Eye of Khorne, which is much better for me because that's a lot of it's 10% upkeep reduction to all forces, some control, some 20% replenishment. It's great actually. And the Greenskins, remember, they do have some issues with replenishment. There's the Nemesis Crown. I don't think I'm gonna use it. I actually had the chance to use it and I avoided it, because I don't really like, especially at this point in the game, to have diplomatic penalties with everyone. This is the point where I just want to defeat the bigger enemies, and then when I go and fight the major enemies, that's where I would probably go for the Nemesis Crown or the Sword of Cain. I'm not the typical guy to use it, but that goes. So they did attack with an army, and now they only have this Beast Lord, and now they're destroyed. So that's great. So Gorbad can move. You can see the corruption there. It's all going to disappear because everything is 100% corruption except that. So this is a valiant defeat that I completely disagree with. He has a lot of cavalry and a lot of land ships and siege tanks against Ragnik with a walk. If I didn't have the walk, maybe. And even then, I think I could win, just losing some units. But with the Warg army, there's no chance. I'll just reserve all my units, my best units. The Ragnarok Spider Flingers can attack, they're artillery units. And I'll have it took 6 seconds for these guys to enter the battle, which means I have full 40 units, and I'm going to defend on that location, and that's it. That's going to be it. Whatever shows up is going to be swarmed with missile fire, and yeah, there's not going to be too much problem. I should be about now starting to attack with my artillery units, and let's watch. So nothing that they have here can cause too much damage, you know. I mean, some of the outriders maybe, because they'll always get one shot off, and that's going to be dangerous. You can see the shots from the land ships. They do have a lot of range, and the steam tanks, but they're trying to attack my spiders, which have missile resistance. So these guys are not going to suffer too much from the artillery. And the artillery units, the land ships, are all standing here together, which means a lot of them are not able to fire. That's a problem, but I guess it's comprehensible, because, I mean, this is not exactly an easy map for the land ships to be controlled by the AI. He still should have them all in a line or something like that, but still, I understand the issues, and he will correct it, I guess, as best as an easy AI would do it. This is not an easy AI, it's legendary, but I mean, that's what we got, right? I'm not going to speak too much about the AI. It needs improvements. Oh, that was a direct hit. But yeah, see? I mean, that's a Luminarch. Ward save 10%, physical resistance, and missile resistance 20. I mean, it's not like you're going to have too much damage there. Plus, they have a lot of health, so you wouldn't even notice. And yeah, my Spider Riders can definitely, especially with support from the infantry units that are over there, take care of any cavalry unit. It doesn't matter if they're demigryphs with halberds, whatever, they're gonna get killed. And I'm already attacking the land ships, and this Luminarch, this is something that I completely forgot. So I'm gonna show you. If the enemy has Luminarchs, always go for them first, because they're giving every single unit nearby with that aura so I have the web weaving and poison activated on them, and then I forgot the aura of protection. That's 20 ward save from that Luminarch. So I tried to focus it and then forgot why I was focusing it. And you can see that it's, instead of using my Spider Riders to attack it, which would kill it very fast and then everything else would die very fast, I didn't. So if they have a Luminarch, always remember to hit it, because it would facilitate the death of all of these units. They have 20% ward save, that's why they're not dying. I was like, something's weird here, and then that's why you see the replays, guys. Sometimes if you feel something was weird during a battle, watch the replays, pay attention to control effects, and you'll find it out, okay? You'll realize what's happening, and that's okay. It's okay to fail. It's not okay to not go there and see what happened. You know, why was this taking so long? Then realize, okay, Luminarch, I gotta remember, in these armies, I gotta focus on the Luminarch. It's also one of the reasons why you can use some Luminarchs with siege tanks and land ships, together with great swords. And that's a good army, because the Luminarchs give ward save to the great swords, and great swords with 20 ward save with everything is good. You just have to keep the winds of magic high enough, and that's nice. So my spiders are now attacking the land ships, and they do a ton of damage to them. They don't have a lot of melee defense, so they of course are way worse in melee. I'm just so glad that we have finally have the land ships. The Empire roster feels so fun to play against and with, you know? Against, it's just because you suddenly have different armies to fight. Sometimes they'll send a stack with land ships. Sometimes they'll send the traditional handgunners, iron sights, you know, and infantry. So it's kind of good. Could be adjusted a little bit, but I guess we still find a lot of cavalry, a lot of artillery, you know, a lot of steel, faith, and gunpowder, you know, so that's good. And finally I'm hitting the Luminarch, and as soon as that goes, I'll realize that something is off and they're dying way too fast. Biggest problem here, and let me see if I can show it to you in a couple of minutes, is how to deal with steam tanks. So steam tanks are very not vulnerable to missile fire. I was trying to hit the units here, but I decided to move them, try to hit, you know, the Master Engineer is also on a steam tank, so that mount is incredibly good. Some people have a pig, others have a full tank. No, that's balance for you. So Luminarch is done, and these guys are trying to fire, but I mean, they're gonna die, that's for sure. Come on, hit it, Spider. The animations are a little bit janky on the Ragnarok Spider, that's why it doesn't do even better. It already does well, by the way. It's a great unit, great single entity killer, great anti-large, but great everything, really. But just be careful when sending against, you know, dedicated infantry anti-large, they'll wreck it. But yeah, against steam tanks, some Spirit Leech, if you have some spells, can work out as well. But having anything that is heavily armor piercing and not exactly missile, because they dodge missiles like nothing. I mean, you're seeing that each missile is doing what, 5 damage maybe? So you need a lot of them. Of course, I have a lot of them. But this directional shield just causes so much missile resist and everything. He still dies. Doesn't mean that he cannot do this, right? But if you have like the perfect units to deal with steam tanks, for me, especially in the Greenskin roster, is very easy. It's either the Ragnarok Spiders, of course, or the Trolls. Trolls wreck steam tanks, and they're not even bothered by them, you know? So you send a couple of Troll units against these 2 steam tanks, and they're gonna just demolish them very easily. So will the Ragnarok Spiders, but I think the Trolls actually kill them faster. That would be a nice video. That would be a nice video. Who kills, you know, these guys faster? The Ragnarok Spiders or a couple of Troll units, you know, or a Troll unit? Yeah, that's going to be a next video, I think. There's one that I wanted to show, which is also how to destroy Grudge Rakers, which are a big problem. That's a artillery unit, but yeah. That'll have to be on the next episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed these couple of battles, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.